Hey guys, today I'm doing a video on the much anticipated Lorac Mega Pro 2 palette, and last year I remember I don't think I made a video on the first Mega Pro palette just because it sold out, like, I want to say it was sold out within the hour that it went up that day, but this year it's a little different because it was an Ulta exclusive, so you can only get it there, but they seem to have learned their lesson last year and made a ton this year because it's still available at the time of me recording this, and I have already ordered mine and it took a couple days to get here. So it came in a blue box that matches the blue palette. It is the same exact size as the one from last year. Last year's was red, this year's is blue, which is kind of fitting because last year's was kind of a warmer palette. I know I've already heard a lot of people say they don't like this year's as much because it's more cool toned, so this was last year's compared to the colors in this year's. Definitely a warm and cool one. Now, I almost didn't get the Mega Pro 2 because I found myself not using this one that much, but the past couple of weeks I've been forcing myself to use it because it's got so many nice colors in it. I just never grab for it, and I think it's because there's so many colors in here that I'm just kind of overwhelmed with it. Like, a 12 pan palette is one thing, you sit down and you use like 5 or 6 colors from it, but this is like, what colors am I going to use today? So I don't know, I just think that that's my issue with these, is because there's so many. There's 32 shadows in these palettes, so you do have a wide array of colors to choose from. But besides that, I think just the makeup obsessed person within me was like, you have the first one, so you need to order the second one. I did use it on my eyes today, so I do have some of the colors on, and it comes with a little plastic insert to kind of keep the colors from... I leave these in because to me it helps keep the shadows from getting all over the mirror, which I don't want to blind you with. But I'm gonna do the swatches with this one like I did with the Urban Decay Vice 4 because I got some positive feedback. You guys liked the way that that was set up, so just gonna give you a quick run through of what these look like. Some of my favorite shades, I like this PROSECCO one. I don't know how to pronounce that. I assume that's how it's pronounced. What else? The Goji one. I used that today as well. I used PROSECCO on my lid. I used Goji. I used TAWNY. No, I used BURLAP in my crease. And I used CABERNET on the outer corner. So these two kind of make a nice fallish burgundy look. But I'm going to go through these now and give you swatches, which I'm going to insert them nice and big like I did last time. So Porcelain is just your average creamy light skin tone color, kind of like it's good for me because I'm pale, so I use that to blend out shadows. And again, like with the first Mega Pro, these top two rows are mattes and the bottom two are all shimmers. So their mattes are super soft and super creamy and they blend amazingly. They're probably one of my favorite matte eyeshadow formulas out of like all the shadows I own. Yes, their shadows are very soft. Some people love that, some people hate it. I am one of the people that loves it. You just have to be careful how much you dig your brush into there because you just need like the slightest tap and you get tons of pigment. So the next one is Custard. That's like a shade or two darker, more of a yellowy toned nude color. Tawny is a brown, like a yellowy brown. I suck at explaining colors lately. Burlap is again a shade or two darker than Tawny. It's got more of like a dustiness to it, dusty brown color. Melon is like a light peach matte color, and then you have Tangerine, which is a more orangey peach. It's not straight up orange, so a lot of the times the names coincide with like Lorac is not fancy at all with their names, but Tangerine, I wouldn't really call that Tangerine because it's not super bright. Saddle is just a matte brown, on the darker side of browns. Forest is a super dark green, like it almost looks black in the pan, but it's definitely a green once you swatch it and use it. Then for the second row we have Bisque. That is a more pinkish cream color. You have Porcelain above it, which is the more yellow toned. This one's the more pink. Then you have Lavender, which is exactly what it says, a light lavender color. Next to that is Purple, which is a bluish, yeah, I'd say it leans more blue, a blue toned purple. Then you have Sorbet, which is a light dusty pink color. It's almost got like a hint of gray in it. Again, that's going to be a nice transition shade. Then you have Goji, which is one of the colors I used today. That is a kind of like a muted cranberry. It's not straight up cranberry because it's not dark enough to be. Then you have Cabernet, which is like a blackened cranberry. That one's super dark. Next to that you have Ash, which is a deep matte gray. I like having matte grays because you don't see that too often, especially in palettes. So like in my collection as a whole, I don't have a lot of matte gray shadows, so I really like that one. And then you have Black, which is a nice super pigmented black. I believe they did have that in the palette last year as well. They usually put that in all their palettes, I think. And then we go on to the shimmers. So the next shade is Sugar. That is a shimmery cream color. Not too, it's more of a satin. I wouldn't say shimmer because there's not too much crazy shimmer going on in there. Then right next to it you have Chiffon. That is a very pale pink satin shade. It almost has a little bit of silver sparkle in it when it hits the light, but again, not super sparkly. Then Prosecco, the one that I can't pronounce, that is definitely a shimmer, like bordering on metallic champagne color. I like that one a lot. Soft Plum, I want to say that was in last year's. I don't know. That seems like it was a color that they already had, but that is a soft purpley pink color, very light. I want to look now and see if that was in, because I know there was something called Plum in last year's palette. No, I guess not. Dusty Plum. Okay, they had Dusty Plum last year. Then we have Cinnamon, which is like a warm golden brown color. It has some gold flecks in there, but nothing like too crazy again. Then there's Sandstone. That is like a brownish beige color. That's really pretty. It's not, again, it's shimmery, but it's not super shimmery. It's like too shimmery to be a satin, but not shimmery enough to be called metallic, you know? So call it what you will. And then Gunmetal, that is exactly what it says. It's a silvery, silver shimmer. Blue Quartz is really pretty. I was expecting this one to be darker, but it's a, it's almost got some iridescence to it. It's like a navy blue with iridescence when it hits the light. Then the last row we have Moonlight, which is another kind of yellow-based creamy color, but very shimmery. This would make a really pretty highlighter, like a face highlighter. Seashell is right next to it. That is a almost a very light peachy, a very light peachy shade. Again, shimmery but not overly shimmery. Peony is right next to it. That's like a shade darker. Again, that's a really pretty peach, peach shimmer. Dark Sienna is a very dark brown that has a little bit of like brownish shimmer to it when it hits the light. Then Penny, that is a coppery brown shade. Coppery gold, I would say. Then we have another one of my favorites from this palette. This is called Olivine. It's kind of like a, I don't even know how you would describe this. It's like a tannish gold. It's definitely like a so shimmery that it's metallic, but it's a really pretty color. Gold Leaf is a very pretty yellowish gold. It's not, I wouldn't call it a true gold, it definitely leans yellowy, but that one is very metallic too. And then the last one is Black Ivy, which I want to say it's a super dark green, but I think it's black, and it's got gold glitter in it. It's one of the one of those colors that's like, it's called Black Ivy, so I think it's supposed to be green, but it's very, very dark, almost black, so I don't know. But I am very happy with this palette. I wasn't going to get it, like I said, but I'm glad I decided to. I'm not really disappointed with any of the colors. Like I said, this blue quartz, I thought it was going to be darker, but that's really not a big deal because I have plenty of dark blue shadows. I love the Olivine and the Prosecco colors because they're like super metallic-y, shimmery, all over lid colors, which I tend to love. And then you get plenty of like transition shades and crease colors, and this, I think what's throwing a lot of people off too is that in a lot of photos these four shadows look like the exact same color, and they're really not in person. They're just like varying shades of neutral. So like the Porcelain is a very like neutral pale cream color. Then you have Bisque, which leans a little bit more pink. Then you have Sugar, which is again yellowish, but it's got some shimmer in it. And then Moonlight is a little bit darker. So I mean, I don't know how well they're gonna show up on my camera, but hopefully you can see that they're definitely not all the same shadow. I don't know, it's not going to want to, yeah, so hopefully you can see better there. Anyways, before my battery dies, I have to get a backup battery for this camera. I do like all the colors. I think it's a good deal. You get, what did I say, 32 shadows for, this was $59. I want to say it was $49 last year. Was it cheaper? I don't know. But anyways, I'm glad to have it in my collection with the first one. I actually ended up selling, I had the Lorac Pro 2 palette, like the little thin one, and I sold that in a blog sale because, or did I sell it on Depop? I sold it on Depop because I knew that this was coming out and I just didn't need the small Lorac palette. So again, that goes back to being overwhelmed with having so many colors, but it's a nice little palette, definitely more cool tones, so if you're not a fan of cool tone shades, you probably won't need to pick this up. But I love it so far. I've only had it for a little bit, but definitely like it. I wish they wouldn't do this rubberized feeling packaging though, because it gets so filthy. Like the other one I haven't even used that much, and it's all stuck with it's got like other makeup all over it and fingerprints, and it's not as bad as it could be, I guess, but I don't know. So definitely love this so far. I'm glad I can put it in with my other one. I like that it's so thin and sleek and everything, because I have a lot of palettes that like take up this much room in my palette drawer over here. So if you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you in my next one.
Don't get scared, take a chance. Don't let it slip through your hands. Love will save you.